The emergency beacon cut through the silence of space like a dying scream. James Rodriguez adjusted his worn pilot's chair, his cybernetic left arm whirring softly as he reached for the console. 3 years since the Centauri Wars ended, and he was still jumping at every unexpected sound. Another distress call, he muttered, examining the coordinates. Kepler 442c's third moon, a backwater rock nobody cared about. The kind of place desperate people went to disappear. James knew about desperate. His cargo hauler, the Resilient, wasn't much to look at anymore. Patched hull, jury-rigged life support, and an AI system that flickered between helpful and hostile depending on its mood. But it flew, and that was enough for a broken-down veteran with more scars than credits. The moon's surface was a wasteland of gray dust and jagged craters. In the distance, a massive transparent dome caught the pale light of Kepler 442, its surface spiderwebbed with cracks. Atmosphere leaked from the fissures in ghostly streams. James landed nearby and suited up, checking his toolkit twice. The beacon was coming from inside the dome. Someone was alive in there, barely. The airlock cycled, and James stepped into what had once been a thriving research station. Hydroponic gardens lay withered, their support systems dark. Emergency lighting cast everything in bloody red shadows. "Hello?" His voice echoed through empty corridors. "This is James Rodriguez responding to your distress beacon." A figure emerged from the depths of the station. A woman in her early 30s with dark hair tied back and intelligent brown eyes that held the same haunted look James saw in his own mirror. She wore a researcher's jumpsuit, patched and repatched, with whatever material she could find. "Thank God," she breathed. "I'm Dr. Liza Chen, exogeologist. I thought I was going to die here." James nodded toward the cracked dome overhead. "What happened?" "Micrometeorite shower 3 weeks ago. The dome's failing faster than I can patch it." Liza's hands trembled slightly as she spoke. "My research team evacuated, but I stayed behind to protect the data. Stupid, I know, but this discovery, it could change everything." James studied the dome's structure. The transparent aluminum was state-of-the-art, but the cracks ran deep. "I can help. Fix it. Got some experience with structural repairs." "You'd do that? For a stranger?" Something in her voice reminded James of his squad mates during the war. People fighting impossible odds, refusing to give up. "We all need help sometimes." They worked through the day cycle, James's cybernetic arm allowing him to handle repairs. That would have been impossible for Liza alone. She was brilliant, he realized, adapting his military engineering techniques to the dome's civilian construction. Her fingers danced over control panels with practiced precision, rerouting power and adjusting pressure differentials. "You're good at this," James observed, watching her splice fiber optic cables with surgeon-like skill. "My grandfather was an engineer. He taught me that every problem has a solution if you're willing to get your hands dirty." Liza paused in her work. "What about you? Where did you learn to repair atmospheric domes?" "Centauri Wars. Built a lot of emergency shelters on hostile worlds." James's expression darkened. "Lost a lot of good people when the domes failed. They worked in comfortable silence after that, 2 damaged souls finding purpose in shared labor." As the hours passed, James noticed something odd. The dome's cracks seemed to shift when he wasn't looking directly at them, as if the structure itself was alive. The emergency lighting flickered in patterns that almost resembled Morse code. "Liza," he said during a break, "how long has this station been here?" "About 10 years. Built on the ruins of an older installation, some kind of alien archaeological site." She wiped sweat from her forehead. "Why?" James gestured at the strange symbols carved into the dome's support pillars, symbols that seemed to writhe in the red light. "These markings, they weren't in the original blueprints I downloaded." Liza's face went pale. "The research team found those when we arrived. The previous archaeologist claimed they were just decorative, but..." She trailed off, staring at the symbols with growing unease. "But what?" "Every team that's worked here has suffered catastrophic accidents. Equipment failures, atmospheric breaches, people just disappearing." Liza's voice dropped to a whisper. The locals call it cursed. James felt the familiar chill of combat intuition. And you stayed anyway. The data I've collected proves there's something here. Something incredible. An energy signature unlike anything we've seen. It could revolutionize space travel, terraform dead worlds. Liza's eyes blazed with scientific fervor. I couldn't let superstition destroy that chance. As if responding to her words, the dome groaned ominously. New cracks appeared along stress points they'd already reinforced. The symbols on the pillars began to glow with a faint, sickly light. That's not normal, James said, his hand instinctively moving toward the sidearm he still carried out of habit. The temperature dropped 10 degrees in as many seconds. Liza's breath misted as she spoke. The energy readings, they're off the charts. James made a decision that would have gotten him court-martialed during the war. He chose to trust his instincts over his orders. Liza, we need to leave now. But the dome will hold long enough to get you out safely. That's all that matters. For a moment, Liza looked ready to argue. Then she saw something in James's eyes, the same determination that had kept him alive through 3 years of hell among the stars. She nodded and began downloading her research data. They worked with desperate efficiency, sealing the most critical breaches while the mysterious energy built around them. The symbols pulsed brighter, and James could swear he heard whispers, in languages that predated human civilization. Got it, Liza announced, securing her data drives. Everything's backed up. They ran for the airlock as the dome began to resonate with harmonic frequencies that made their teeth ache. Behind them, the archaeological symbols blazed with otherworldly fire, and the very air seemed to sing with ancient, hungry voices. James's ship lifted off just as the dome finally surrendered to forces beyond human understanding. The structure didn't simply collapse. It folded inward like origami, taking the research station with it. Where the installation had stood, only a perfectly circular crater remained, its edges fused into black glass. My God, Liza whispered, staring at the view screen. What was that? James set course for the nearest inhabited system, his hands steady on the controls despite everything they'd witnessed. Something that didn't want to be disturbed. But you got your data out. That's what matters. The data. Liza checked her drives, then looked up with wonder and terror in equal measure. James, the energy readings I recorded just before we left. This isn't just archaeological. It's a technology so advanced it might as well be magic. What kind of technology? The kind that could save humanity from every problem we've ever faced. Or destroy us completely. She met his eyes. The kind that explains why they call it cursed. James thought of his fallen comrades, of the wars fought over resources and territory, of the endless struggle to survive among the stars. He thought of Liza's courage in the face of the unknown, and his own choice to help a stranger in need. Then we'd better make sure it's used right, he said. The Resilient carried them away from the cursed moon, 2 survivors bound together by shared purpose. Behind them, Kepler 442c's third moon spun silently in space. Its secrets partially revealed, but its mysteries deeper than ever. In the cargo hold, Liza's data drives hummed with information that could reshape the galaxy. And in the cockpit, James Rodriguez, veteran, wanderer, and now guardian of humanity's most dangerous discovery, set course for home. The dome was gone, but its curse lived on in the knowledge they carried. Whether that knowledge would prove to be humanity's salvation or damnation remained to be seen. But they would face that future together.